Well, greetings, and thanks for joining us for another episode of Lightbulb Moments. This is episode number 179. We're live most Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central Time. We're also available on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. I'm Tom Kuhn. I'm host and curator of Lightbulb Moments. A lightbulb moment is a sudden realization, enlightenment, or inspiration. And remember, you can't start a fire without a spark. So hopefully these sessions create some spark within you. At Qnity, we're here to give you a simpler and clearer path towards prosperity. And to prosper, remember to manage your ATM, the three currencies we have in life: attention, time, and money. And thanks for spending your precious time with us today. Today, we're going to take you through a special session on ACE, Qnity's simple and visual system to drive engagements. Looking forward to it. A very timely topic. Check out past episodes, including the last one, which was a dual episode. We had as one guest, Robert Reed of Ergo Styling Tools. And Robert had a great session on really adversity and how personal crisis and preparation and lack of preparation impacted Robert and all those around him. A very inspiring session with Robert. Definitely check that out. We also had two members of the Randolph family. The Randolphs is Randolph Salons Group out of Michigan. And we had Scott and Austin Randolph. They're part of a series that we've been doing on multi-generational family businesses. So great session, very lively, with two lively guys, Austin and Scott. We love hearing from you. Submit a light bulb moment of your own, whether it's in the chat, by email, or in a comment. Lightbulb Moments is proudly sponsored by Light Heart Sanders and Qnity. Thanks to them. We have coming up very soon the Fill. We are on a 13-week countdown, and our theme this year is play, the kind of play that really results in transformation through gamification, tactile learning, etc. It's going to be a super interesting and impactful session, again, in partnership like last year with the University of Texas, and we've got some great members of their executive faculty team joining us. So definitely, if you haven't signed up for the Fill, sign up. First quarter calendar, we're halfway through the calendar, and what we have coming up is we've got some classes coming up in Austin, which is really our southern hub for education. We have a succession masterclass coming up on March 2nd, our profit workshop on March 3rd, and our growth workshop on March 4th. We also are starting a new succession group. We're working with several owners. We have been for the last 9 months, and each of them have made tremendous progress. So we are going to be assembling a new special group of owners that really want to make tangible progress on their succession plan. We also have execution coming up in Minnesota on April 7th and 8th, the one-day workshop, and then reminder, the Fill, and a celebration of Lightbulb Moments coming up in May. Big project for us, which is coming to a conclusion, is the 2024 Salon P&L Benchmark Study performed by the Qnity Institute, which is the data division of Qnity. So a lot of very revealing things coming up on that. We'll continue to be bringing up to speed on that. Also, check out Erin's Money O2 podcast. The money stories are incredible that she features, and you're going to want to check that out also. The lightbulb moment from last week really came from our two great guests. Robert, as I already mentioned, it is not just adversity, but things you can do to prepare for adversity, which he had successfully done prior to having a devastating fire of his headquarters in California, completely unrelated to the more mass fires down there, but how his preparation of him and his team in so many different ways allowed them to move forward quickly, proactively. It's a great story. And then again, lots of light bulb moments last week from the Randolphs on staying in each other's lanes, what it's like to be a family member of the business, all of that. So plenty of light bulb moments from those two sessions. My light bulb moment this week really is something that's been very much in the back of my mind lately. And it's something called ACE, which many of you may be familiar with. If you're not, it's something that you're going to become familiar with very soon. If you are familiar with ACE, perhaps it could be some new twists on ACE, reminders, an impetus. So let's dig in and take you through ACE. So what is ACE? It's a simple and visual system to drive engagement. It's really about bringing a culture that not only is very much driven by the head and sound thinking and sound strategy, but also the heart. And ACE, a little bit of history behind it, is something that's been around for a very, very long time, probably like 25 plus years. However, it was pretty dormant within our curriculums until 10 years ago. I do have to give credit to Carrie Perkins, who was a big part of Qnity, still is a part of Qnity in a very different way. But she's the one that said, Tom, this is something bigger than just being buried in a curriculum. So it really became its own body of work. We've taught ACE, not only the salon industry, we've done some ACE-related programs, believe it or not, for Merrill and JP Morgan Chase, where we really brought this concept in for their own culture. And so super exciting topic. And again, I think very timely today. So ACE stands for Appreciate, Care, Challenge, and Encourage. So it's an acronym with two C's in the middle. And the acronym really is just a good reminder of the different ways that we can connect with fellow humans. And we'll break all those apart in a little bit here. Now, I love this visuals, these meerkats, and reminder that we are human beings and we do connect with togetherness. We are mammals. And at the end of the day, business is about people, and people is really the engine of business. And with technology continuing to just lead us forward, a big part of really what we preach at Qnity is unity and the proper pairing of what otherwise could feel like disconnected ideas or initiatives. And so this is really the pairing of the head and the heart, and technology and touch. So it's the touch element that we're going to go through today. We've had a lot of episodes about technology. Our next guest is a technology CEO, but let's spend a little bit of time talking about touch. Sound good? If you're thumbs up, put a little message in the chat there, or a comment on in the notes there. So to be clear, ACE is a verb, meaning it is something that requires action. It's not just about what you're thinking, but it's also about what you're doing. So action really is a key word, and the fact that it's a verb, we want to call out at the very beginning. Now, our brains are like Velcro for negative experiences. They stick. They're hard to let go of, present company included. It's just, we are just naturally inclined, because of the amygdala part of the brain, to really attach to and to find it very difficult to let go of negative experiences. On the other hand, positive experiences, to a great degree, feel like Teflon. They just kind of roll off. They become forgettable almost in an instant. So it's really about the proper proportion of negative experience and positive experiences and how much time you spend in each. There's a great quote, and it went something like this. Was it a bad day, or was it a bad 5 minutes that you milked all day? So think about that one for a moment. Now, I don't know if you know this, but it takes at least 5 positive interactions to make up for 1 negative interaction. Again, it's just because how we're designed as humans. So without intentionality to unpack and celebrate the positive interactions, then we're really going to be stuck in the negativity here. The Gap and the Gain is a great book by Dan Sullivan. In fact, at our very first fill, it really was the featured book. We had a speaker come in, specifically talk about it. As a side note, I always highly recommend that book, The Gap and the Gain, because really what it does is when it comes to achieving results, many of us spend way too much time in the gap, which is the difference between present reality and an ideal. Whereas a more ideal way and a attribute of high performers is to spend more time in the gain. So instead of looking at current reality and then measuring it by the ideal, you measure it by the progress. And another way of looking at that is really the progress principle and the way of thought that progress comes in small steps. But if you don't celebrate them, if you don't acknowledge them, you're not going to build the momentum that's really needed for results. So appreciate. Lack of appreciation has been the number one reason why people leave their jobs. Now think about that one for a moment. And if we look at appreciation, a very common element with a lot of leaders, I read this in a book very recently too, is most leaders will acknowledge they probably don't spend enough time appreciating. Present company included, guilty as charged. I'm working on it. We're all working on it. This is perhaps a reminder to keep working on it. So the feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. What a great quote by William Arthur Ward. And you know, it's there's a lot of different ways that you can express gratitude. In certain ways is just handing someone just a little note. We have this thing called a Lost Art note card mini. That's just a nice way to just take a little note, stick an image on there, draw an image on there, and give it to someone. And that alone could change someone's energy for a complete day. Care. The best marketing strategy ever is to care. This is by Gary Vaynerchuk, and I love this quote. And the good news is that caring is just something that is a natural human function and something that we all love to do and find it in many cases easy to do. But I think the byproduct of this, it's not the original intent, but the byproduct of caring is it is good business. It's good marketing. I'm not suggesting being inauthentic, but keep in mind that that alone, you know, is a way that will help you engage with whoever your stakeholders are. Challenging is really the part of ACE that is a little bit more difficult for many people. Sometimes challenging people isn't fun, but in many cases, that's exactly what people are looking for. They're looking to be challenged. And there's questions. There's so many questions you can ask. And in many of our programs, we have lists and lists of really great practical questions that would be great for coaching, great for leadership. We have a tool called the Lead for Change tool that really helps guide you through what are the right ways to challenge with properly phrased questions, like what are you most proud of? It looks like we had a little technology glitch there, and but we're just going to keep going here. So it looks to me like we're back in action. So we had a little bit of a break in the action, but we're back with you here. All right. Challenging. Here's Lindsay, and this is an individual that really wanted to grow. And it's an example of how a tracking tool, very simply tracking tool, weekly growth tracker, and challenging her. And the end product of that was that she had tremendous growth in her business. And so another example of challenging. So challenge is to push, encourage is to pull. And so encouragement is really the last in the acronym. And the key to successful leadership today is influence, not authority, as said by Ken Blanchard. So encouragement, we all can use a lot of encouragement. And I think if you look at challenge and encourage as two sides of the same coin, one's to push, the other one's to pull. It's a great way to bring that heart-centered interaction, regardless of who your stakeholder is. So how to ACE? There's different ways. This is really, really a lost art. When we first created Lost Art note cards, which was probably about 12 years ago or so at least, we call them Lost Art note cards. And fast forward to today, it's really a lost art, okay? It's gotten even more of a lost art to write handwritten notes. Really, it takes less than a minute in many cases to write an authentic, caring, challenging, appreciating, or encouraging type of note. But in many cases, that particular item will last a lifetime and people hang on to it. Now who to ACE? Clients, teammates, employees, family, friends, and yourself. Don't forget to ACE yourself. When to ACE? All the time, okay? Other keys to success with acing is make it genuine, make it timely, and make it personal. Now, going from knowing to doing is really so much about what Qnity is about here. And we'll go through some tangible ways to go from knowing to doing. And we have different tools to support acing. We have something called Inner Circle, which is it's a great tool, which allows you to create specificity around people that you really want to make sure that you ace and stay in touch with. It's a great tool. It's a very versatile tool. It's not only used for ACE, but it's also used to create a better referrals, build a network, whatever. So certainly the Inner Circle, which is a wheel that allows you to write in names and sort of segment those names to create some structure around that. Also, Lost Art note cards, whether they're the minis, which are just small ones, they're almost a little bit larger than a business card, as well as a traditional note card with an envelope. And then the G&A journal, I know we've done sessions in the past on our gratitudes and accomplishment journal. That's really a great way to ace yourself. So the Inner Circle, I already mentioned that to you. Some actually use that to break the quadrants into those individuals you want to appreciate, those individuals you want to express your caring nature for, those individuals you want to challenge, and those you want to encourage. Create structure and get you out of your head into action. Tracking ACE is great, and we actually have a new tool, and it's an ACE tracker. And what it does, it's a great tool to either use yourself or a tool to have your team use and to recap with you. So what this does is it really invites you to be very specific about who and when you're going to ACE and the nature of your ACE. I've known some owners and some key leaders that have challenged their managers to become accountable for acing, and this tracker is a great way to create accountability around it. So that is the light bulb moment for the week. It's all about ACE. So it's a mini session today. A great reminder to all of you, a great refresher, great reminder for myself. It's one of the many things I love about this forum is we get the opportunity to unpack ideas together and look at each other's state of minds. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. We will be off next week. I will be in transit from Minnesota down to Austin, Texas for an annual spend the month in Austin. Many things going on down there, including South by Southwest. We've got some workshops, we've got some clients, we've got some friends, and we've got some warmer weather than the kind of weather that I'm experiencing today in Minnesota, which when I last checked is -4 degrees. So with that, folks, thanks for tuning in this week. We appreciate you, and don't forget to ACE, and perhaps share with us if you've got any great ACE stories. And we hope to see you all very, very soon.